Now, one of the things that you will know about the Nio competitors is that it's not just BMW, Mercedes, Audi that are direct competitors of Nio models, but also Porsche. Porsche is also one of the competitors for Nio, because you know, especially with the ET9, they've made it clear, Nio, that that brand or that model is targeting the Maybach, is targeting the Porsche, meaning that even the market or those people that would usually go for a Porsche right now on Nio, they've got a choice to go or to consider or to reconsider their choices of going for a Maybach and a Porsche and choose the ET9. That car, that model, the standards are set in line with those cars, which is something that is great, something that is amazing. Now, here's something that we are seeing happening in Porsche when it comes to the deliveries in China. Apparently, Porsche deliveries in China have fallen for the third consecutive year, and due to this, they plan to downsize their outlets. This is something that might be as a result of the competition that we are seeing coming from other EV companies or other car companies competing with Porsche, which I can tell you now that Nio has to be one of the companies that is making companies like Porsche struggle to sell well in China, because technology wise, you know that the kind of Nio models you see right now on the road are the ones that are giving headaches to car brands like Mercedes, BMW, and Audi. And Porsche is not immune to this fierce competition that is in China. Some of these EV cars, like the ones that Nio is making, they are pretty fast, super fast, and making those that want speed to also consider or relook at things once they've test driven some cars like the AC7, cars like the ET7, because those cars are super fast. And right now, and with the ET9 as part of the lineups for Nio, you and me can agree that it's still going to get worse for some of these international car brands that are selling their cars in China. I mean, Porsche, like I said, they saw their sales in China dropping by 28% year on year, meaning that the kind of sales that they saw in 2023, which was a drop from the 2022 sales, the 2024 sales were 28% down compared to the 2023 sales, which obviously also that figure was a drop to previous years, which is something that is not good. I mean, you will notice that there is a graph there that is showing you the sales of Porsche going down, which is something that is not good. I mean, you will notice there that they are indicating that this drop that we are seeing in China resulted in the sales globally for Porsche dropping by 3%. Now, the reason why it's 3% is because in some of the markets, especially in the European market, Porsche is still doing very well. Sales there are continuing to increase, and therefore they try to cover up the drops or the huge drops that they are seeing in China, which I suppose is pretty great. But overall, the sales are dropping. I mean, you notice that even globally, the sales right now, they are down 3% from the all-time high sales that Porsche generated in 2023, which shows you that the competition in China, it's very, very tough. And the more companies or Chinese EV makers brands continue to launch new models, is the more these companies or foreign companies will continue to experience some loss due to the fierce competition that is in China at this very moment. We have spoken about the losses that Mercedes, BMW are incurring due to, of course, the sales of Nio, the sales of even Onvo. To my surprise, I was quite surprised to say that Onvo apparently is taking some of the consumers who would usually go for BMW, Mercedes. Some they were thinking of going for Mercedes, BMW, but after test driving the Onvo L60, they realized that that is the car for them. This is the car they would want to go for, and therefore making it tough once again for the German luxury brands selling well in China. I mean, it's not only these German luxury brands that are suffering the fierce competition in China, or that are losing or seeing a loss into the kind of sales deliveries they generate in China on a month to month. Even Tesla, I can tell you, sales are starting to drop in China because of the fierce competition that is in China. I mean, the best-selling model, Tesla Model Y, you will know that we have spoken or had quite a number of discussion, even showing you what's happening on the ground in China right now on the Tesla Model Y compared to our very own Onvo L60. And one thing that we are seeing is that Tesla is also starting to lose a market share because of the competition coming from EV brands like Onvo, which is something that is great. And this, as a result, it also means that if Tesla upcoming 2025 Model Y does not do well as expected, which the scenario right now is, you will know that Tesla Model Y is expensive more than the existing Tesla Model Y which they are selling, which, by the way, the Onvo L60 is cheaper than it. You and me can agree that it's still going to be worse even for Tesla. Chinese companies, what is going to happen? I remember this was from the report from CNBC. They are going to give so much competition to all the companies from outside of China are going to face serious hit, including Tesla, because of the kind of competition that China is bringing. It is for this reason you will see countries in Europe. It is for this reason that you will notice that in Europe is trying to make sure that they cut down or they try to stop Chinese EV makers penetrating the European market by introducing tariffs. You will know that the current tariffs, or the tariffs that we are seeing onto the Chinese makers selling in Europe, is simply because they are trying to protect, of course, their local brands. They are trying to make it to be fair, because China, apparently, some of the EV cars that they are taking there in Europe, they are so cheap in a way that they will end up also eating the market share of the Chinese, of the German luxury brands like your Mercedes, BMW, and Audi. And yes, I know they are imposing tariffs to try to stop this, but they cannot stop this forever. This is a short-term solution because China is going to find ways to take their cars into Europe and still make money. Nio, when you talk about that, you'll notice that the Firefly sub brand, it's already being prepared to be shipped, or they are already starting the preparation of shipping it onto Norway, because Norway, unlike the other European countries, they are not part of the countries that are participating into increasing tariffs onto Chinese EV makers like Nio, and therefore Norway could still be a very good country where we see results immediately of the Firefly sub brand, which, boy, I cannot wait to see how that vehicle or that model will do well there. But I tell you, there is a massive potential, because in Europe, Norway EV penetration rate, if I'm not mistaken, last year it went over 90%, which is something that shows you that Norway, in terms of EV cars that are being sold, or most cars that are being sold in Norway, are EV cars. And therefore, knowing that Nio just launched Firefly, it could unlock quite a number of sales, because that car is so cheap that it can be afforded by majority of the people in Norway, which is so great, which is amazing, and it makes me to look forward to the sales that are going to get there, or that are going to be generated there. So yeah, Porsche, it's also losing sales. It's also seeing their sales dropping globally, the very same way we saw Mercedes-Benz coming and readjusting their total revenue forecast for 2024 because of the fierce competition in China. The very same way we are seeing even the other German brands coming and readjusting their revenue growth because of the fierce competition in China. It is the same way that we are going to see in the long term, or in the near future, Tesla also trying to readjust, trying to make sure that they do something to get, or to continue getting the market share or the good sales in China, which it won't be that easy, I'm telling you now, because the competition in China is too high. The bars in China have been raised so high that for you to make it well there, you need to make sure that you are selling good things, because consumers or potential customers in China, they've got a wide range of choices. And for your brand to stand out, it must really do it for the Chinese consumers who have got a wide range or a vast majority of options they can choose from, which is something that is not easy, or is making it's the one that is making it not easy for these car makers like Porsche. So yeah, man, 28% decrease in terms of sales in China, minus 3% decrease of global sales. This shows you that it is just bad for these, or some of these companies, or things are not looking that good. But hopefully, yeah, I wish them well. I wish they could see the opportunity of partnering with some of these Chinese EV makers, because unless they do that, or if they want to still survive in the future, they will have to do that, and they must consider doing that right now, because there will be time when you won't be needing that much of partnership of them and the other EV companies, because they will be generating enough, they will be growing so much, which it might not be necessary, because who knows, they might be having a factory in Europe, they'll be having a factory in America, and therefore not making it much necessary to partner with any more companies, as they will already have factories where they are building and deploying or selling their cars in these other countries. So the time for some of these German luxury brands to partner with companies like Nio, it's right now, because yeah, I'm telling you, when they get profitable, it will be a bit difficult, because right now when they are negotiating, they will be negotiating with a Neo that is profitable, they'll be negotiating with an Xpeng that will be profitable, and Leodo that will be profitable. And I tell you, it won't be like easy as when these companies are not profitable, which will be so important that if Porsche wants to do well in China, they have to start collaboration with some of these Chinese EV makers, so that they remain relevant, they remain generating some revenues in China, which is great, which of course it might be the only solution for these EV makers. Otherwise, with all that, just thought I'd give you this quick update. Tell me what you think about this. I think blue sky is coming. Those that are persevering will most definitely be rewarded with time. That's all from me. I'll see you in my next video, and God bless you all.